Kharab by Yasharallah coming out of the Lion's Den camp of Yasharallah, located here in Jacksonville, Florida. Now today, we'll be coming out with another lesson on our article, and it says, Putin says West allowing Ukraine to use its long-range missiles to strike in Russia would put NATO at war with Moscow. And that's just really what it is. They're going to start World War III, and World War III is going to happen. The flames of war have been stoked. The drums of war are beating. But let's continue. It says, Vladimir Putin said on Thursday that the West would be directly fighting with Russia if it allowed Ukraine to strike Russian territory with Western-made long-range missiles. It says the Russian president said the move would alter the nature and scope of the conflict, of course. So Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky has been pleading with Kiev's allies for months to let Ukraine fire Western missiles, including long-range U.S. It says this is ATACMS, but I looked it up. It's actually Army Tactical Missile Systems. That's what it's called. They abbreviate it. So it's a tactical ballistic missile system. But again, it says Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky has been pleading with Kiev's allies for months to let Ukraine fire Western missiles, including long-range U.S. Army Tactical Missile Systems and British Storm Shadows deep into Russian territory to limit Moscow's ability to launch attacks. In some of his most hawkish comments on the subject, Putin said such a move would drag countries supplying Kiev with long-range missiles directly into war, since satellite targeting data and the actual programming of the missiles' flight paths would have to be done by NATO military personnel because Kiev did not have the capabilities itself. It says, so this is not a question of allowing the Ukrainian regime to strike Russia with these weapons or not. It is a question of deciding whether or not NATO countries are directly involved in a military conflict, Putin told Russian TV. It says, if this decision is taken, it will mean nothing less than the direct involvement of NATO countries, the United States and European countries, in the war in Ukraine. This will be their direct participation, and this, of course, will significantly change the very essence, the very nature of the conflict, and that's very true. It will directly change it. It'll take it up a few notches. Let's continue. It says Russia will be forced to take what Putin called appropriate decisions based on the new threats. He did not spell out what those measures could be, but he has spoken in the past of the option of arming the West's enemies with Russian weapons to strike Western targets abroad, and in June spoke of deploying conventional missiles with striking distances or the striking distance of the United States and its European, or within the striking distance of the United States and European allies. It says Russia, the world's largest nuclear power, is also in the process of revising its nuclear doctrine. The circumstances in which Moscow would use nuclear weapons, and Putin is being pressed by an influential foreign policy to change it to state Russia's willingness to use nuclear arms against countries that support NATO aggression in Ukraine. And there you have it. It's just that simple. So without further ado, let's get some scriptures, because it ain't nothing but a provocation of war. They're trying to push an agenda, to say We all know what they're trying to do. We ain't gonna even get into it. But without further ado, let's get right to it. Let's get some scriptures. This is Psalms 53, verse 1. It says, "The fool hath said in his heart, there is no God. Corrupt are they, and have done abominable iniquity. There is none that doeth good." So a fool has said that in his heart and in his mind that there is no God, that Yahweh does not exist. And this is a sentiment of the bloody man, or of the borders of wickedness. They have said in their heart that there is no God. So guess what? That means they're corrupt and they have done abominable iniquities before the eyes of Yahweh Bashim Yahshai, and none of them doeth any good. But this is just another provocation of war right here. Let's continue. Because Babylon America is always around the four corners of the earth doing something that it really shouldn't be doing. Like this right here. Psalms 55 and 20. "He hath put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. He hath broken his covenant." And I brought this out on the last lesson. And this devil has put forth his hands against those that have absolutely no problem with him, or agreed to disagree on whatever it is that the conflict may have been, and agreed to like walk away and leave it alone. Even then, this devil has crossed the line. Even with the Western provided missile systems into Ukraine, that is crossing the line. He has broken his covenant. The truth of the matter is, the only reason Russia has been in a defensive and now in an offensive position is because the powers that be, such as, we'll say, the governing powers or the military powers in the earth that joined a specific organization known as NATO, was moving towards Russia's territory. That's the only reason this is happening. And that's just the truth. That's the only reason why you got all this, and Ukraine is caught in the middle. And it is what it is. But prior to all of this, Russia had agreed to just back off and just stay cool and stay in their zone. But this devil has broken that word. He has broken that covenant. Continuing. By moving closer to Putin's territory, and by arming a proxy country that is being used to fight against Russia. We know what it is. They've broken their covenant by giving them long range weaponry. And where did that long range weaponry come from? Babylon America. So yeah, it's going to change the scope of and the nature of this conflict. Most definitely will. But let's continue. Verse 20 of Psalm 55 once more. "He hath put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. He has broken his covenant. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words are softer than oil, yet they are drawn swords." So there you go. The words of this devil's mouth is smoother than butter, but war is in their heart. Take it this way. Here you go, Ukraine. You can use these long range weapons. Well, you can use these missiles, but don't use the long range and fire into Russian territory. But you can use them to defend yourself. That's some smooth sounding stuff for those over there in the Ukraine, whatever. That sounds smooth, but guess what? They gave them the weapons because why? Because war is really in their hearts. Babylon America, war is really in its heart. The people that run this place, war is in their heart. And it says his words were softer than oil, yet they're drawn swords. So Esau's words sound soft and they sound good, but they're drawn swords. It's called what they call a back end deal, or a double cross. So let's continue. This is Joel chapter 2, verse 3. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. And that's what's going on. This is something that's supposed to be that we are to, as men of the Lord, we are to proclaim among the heathen, meaning make it known. Speak about it. Say it out in the open. Prepare war. And war is being prepared for. It says, wake up the mighty men, meaning get these other nations' armies, get everything together. Get their brigandines, fitted and equipped to go to war, to fight. It says, let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. And that's what's going on. And that's what is going to happen. Verse 10, it says, beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. It says, let the weak say, I am strong. So these other nations, that's what they're doing. They're beating their plowshares into swords and their pruning hooks into spears. And those countries that were once thought to be weak are now saying that they are strong, and they are now allying themselves with Russia. That's where you get BRICS from. Brazil, Russia, China, I think India, and South Africa. But there have been a handful of other countries that have joined BRICS, and they have they do have substantial military power. And Russia is at the forefront of it. Russia is the head. And that's what's going, and that's how that's going. So that's why we see these things, we see these articles, and they don't really show much videos on it or news about it, but that's what's going on. A war is getting ready to happen. World War III is very close. War is going to happen, period. It is going to happen. Let's continue. Verse 11 of Joel chapter 3. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about thither. Cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord Yahweh. So the Lord is saying to these other nations, and he is saying that this is going to happen. All ye heathens, assemble yourselves together. Prepare to go to war. Come up round about. And the Lord is going to cause his mighty ones to come down and fight. Because you got to think, not only is this going to be a World War III, these devils is going to try to fight Yahweh Shai when he get here. They're going to try to fight the Lord. That goes into the war in heaven, which Esau is going to lose. But the Lord is gathering these nations, getting them ready for battle, getting them ready to fight. Verse 12, let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, for there I will sit to judge all the heathen round about. And that's just plain. That's straight to the point. That's plain. The Lord is going to gather these other nations, and he's going to judge them in the valley of Jehoshaphat. You can even jump back to verse 2 of this same chapter and read that. And it tells you, I'll read it. It says, I will also gather all nations and bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. So the Lord is going to gather these other nations and judge them in the valley of Jehoshaphat. But first, he going to make them fight each other and go at each other. And that's what we see now with this article. The Lord finna make these heathens fight each other. It's a war in the land, man. It's a war. It's going to happen. It is going to happen. Let's see. I'll read this. This will be my last point. This is Job 27, and I'm going to start at 20. It says, terrors take hold of him as waters. A tempest stealeth him away in the night. So these terrors is taking hold of Esau. You know, he's trying to start a conflict without starting a conflict. And that's crazy. You're either going to be all the way forward or you're going to be all the way against it. But these terrorists is going to take hold of him as waters. And a tempest stealeth him away in the night, a destroying wind. And it says terrorists take hold on him as waters. Just imagine like you sitting somewhere and water start rushing in. You're gonna be surrounded. That water gonna rush in so quick and surround him. It says, and tempest stealeth him away as in the night. Hold on, let me see something. Oh man, I'm telling you, I'm gonna miss my point. Salakia. All right, never mind. Oh, let me finish. Salakia, let me finish. Continuing. Again, Job chapter 27, verse 20. It says, terrorists take hold on him as waters. A tempest stealeth him away in the night. The east wind carrieth him away, and he departeth, and a storm hurleth him out of his place. And it's talking about the destruction of the wicked, the judgment of the wicked. And when the Lord bring this ultimate destruction, that's what's going to really get rid of Esau and take him out of his power seat that he is in. That's what it says. Yeah, that's what it means when it said the east wind carrieth him away, and he departeth, and a storm hurleth him out of his place. That's destruction. That's judgment. And that's how Esau is going to be overthrown and thrown down by Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. And it's going to hurl him out of his place. I mean, he's going to lose the power or the foothold that he has in the earth. Continuing. It says, for Yahweh shall cast upon him and not spare. He would fain flee out of his hand. Men shall clap their hands at him and shall hiss him out of his place. So the Lord is going to rain down on Esau. He's going to come down on Esau with great wrath and power. That's what it says. For Yahweh shall cast upon him, cast what upon him? The judgment. His due punishment. And the Lord is not going to spare. I mean, the Lord ain't going to hold it back. He gonna fully let this judgment go. And it says, and he would fain flee out of his hand. Meaning Esau ain't going to be able to stand against the indignation of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. And it says the men's going to clap their hands at Esau and hiss him out of his place. Talk trash about him. Help him fall. Once they see him falling, they're going to push him. So the more Edom tries to push towards the war, the quicker their destruction comes. And they're trying to, do that Esau moving in that ambiguous space, that ambiguity. It ain't clear, but it is clear to those who have eyes to see and ears to hear. But for everybody else, it's I don't know what to do for everybody else. But it's for those that are in the know, it's more of a hurry up and stop trying to do something without doing something. I say it that way. But yeah, and with that, Shalom.